What a matchup!
And what a team, Mike. Metro PCS and the iPhone SE for $0 on a network that covers 99% of people in the U.S. Oh, impressive.
Play with the best. Switch to Metro PCS on an unlimited LTE plan and get a 32-gig iPhone SE for $0. Metro PCS. Coverage not available in some areas, plus sales tax. Claim based on talk and text. Not valid for active numbers currently on the T-Mobile network or active on Metro PCS in the past 90 days. See store for details and terms and conditions.
And then he's going to shoot himself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he gets interrupted by a deer. Like, by a deer that needs the space next. Dude's like, I want him to be like, I'm in here from 4 to 4:30. And the deer's like, it's 4:28. Yeah, till 4:30.
I wanted the deer to be like, ooh, awkward. Sorry. Just slowly back out.
The deer introduces himself. Hi, new to the neighborhood. We brought an edible arrangement.
God awful movie.
Welcome back to the GAMcast, where each week we sample another selection from Christian cinema so that summer blockbusters won't be the worst things we see in theaters this year. I'm your host, Noah Lugeons, and sitting to my immediate left is my good friend Heath Enwright. Heath, welcome back.
Thanks, Noah. You know who sounds like Christian Bale with food in his mouth? Sam Worthington, the main character in this movie.
Shit. And sitting 81 miles to my right is my bad friend Eli Bosnick. Eli, how are you this fine afternoon, sir?
Fuck this movie.
Oh my. Yeah. So might as well get it over with. Heath, tell us, what will we be breaking down today?
All right, we watched The Shack.
For you people, we watched this
theater.
movie.
And it's a movie that finally answers the question, can't we all just get along with serial pedophile murder rapists? Now, I won't spoil it, but it's either yes or no. They do answer it. The answer is because of Jesus. I won't say yes or no, but it's because of Jesus.
And Eli, how bad was this movie?
Well, if you call yourself a Christian, but the only part of the Bible you've read is the title, you will love this movie. This was the movie version of every infuriating conversation I've ever had with a quote-unquote Christian while they wear a healing crystal and have Arabic words tattooed on their body.
It was exactly that, though. It was the fuzzy, woo Christian film. Oh, my God. All right. So let's be honest, because we're talking about a flick with known actors and a $20 million budget being dropped at the start of the summer movie season.
$20 million?
Yes. Made $16 million of it back on opening weekend.
God
so
damn
hopefully there won't be a The Shack too. Okay, but look, this flick had Oscar winner Octavia Spencer, Oscar nominee Graham Greene, and iHeartRadio Music Award Best Country Single co-nominee Tim McGraw in it. So
Wait, what?
Yeah, that's real. I feel like that's the top thing on his IMDb awards thing too. But I feel like the more relevant question here is not how bad was this movie, but like how much worse than you expected it to be was this movie? Because I was afraid we might be going into something that was moderately good.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. We saw this preview and we were like, all right, well, she's good and he's good and I like iHeartRadio as well. So like, let's skip this one. And then everyone was like, no, do The Shack. You have to do The Shack. And we were like, all right, let's do The Shack, right? In worst case scenario, Noah and Heath drive 5 hours to the nearest movie theater and they pay in pennies. And then we watch the movie. But this was so much worse.
It was so bad.
Much worse. I just expected a fried green tomatoes, feel good, Christian means be nice to everybody movie. But it is not that.
It was bizarre. Holy shit. Okay, so is there anything you guys want to nominate this one for being the best at being the worst at?
Yes. Best worst, magical black lady. She shows up like 5 seconds into the movie,
right?
And she's the best worst. The actress is way too good for this movie. She's the best, but the worst.
Okay, look, Sam Worthington was too good for this movie, and he's fucking awful.
Not a great sign.
Yeah.
Can I go with best worst? Wooey Christians not staying in their fucking lane. Look, here's the thing. I don't hate a wooey Christian. We all know the wooey, just like Jesus to me means the love. And you're like, I wish you'd just cut out that word right there at the front. But like, okay, yeah, go ahead. Sure, you're a you light a candle. Sure, whatever, live your life. But you stay out of the rape. You have to, if you're gonna do the wooey thing, you never get to think about rape, right? Because the atheists are the wooey Christians who thought about rape. We're just the wooey whatever we were, who were like, yeah, but what about rape? And now we're here. You got to stay in your lane.
Hells yes. Well said,
That's going to be on my gravestone. Wooey Christian who thought about rape.
See, now mine is going to be so disappointing after that diatribe. I was just going to go with best worst CGI for something that would have been cheaper to actually do. There are more than one instances in this film.
I'm thinking of one in particular.
Where it's like, they made that look realistic in the 50s, y'all. Wow. All right, well, if Heath and I can suffer through the haunted bridge between us and the theater for this movie, the least you can do is wait through this interstitial. So we're going to pause for a quick break, and when we come back, we'll break down all the try not to think about this too hard apologetics of The Shack.
Hey there. Are you a wooey Christian?
Is your version of Jesus just a super nice Middle Eastern guy who says nice things?
Then ask your doctor about Hemet Meta.
That's right. If you suffer from delusions about what a Palestinian radical rabbi said, did, and meant, Hemet Meta might be right for you.
Like Jesus, Hemet was also a teacher, and then started a kind of cult thing, except Hemet, to our knowledge, has never yelled at an olive tree.
And if he has, he's very sorry.
And hey, does Jesus have a blog? Hemet Meta has a blog.
Take that, Jesus.
Don't want a brown guy?
How about Seth Andrews?
Same thing, plus milk chocolate voice.
We like that guy.
Because we know the A word isn't for everybody.
Ooh, scary.
But if what you're looking for in a dude is brown skin and good ideas,
then try Hemet Meta instead.
He does not know we did this.
I bet he will, though. Hey, folks, sorry to bother you, but we've got a very important announcement. We know that you've probably been asked to do this before, but our advertisers have created a little survey at podcast.study for you to take. We can't stress enough that this is how our advertisers gauge both the size and responsiveness of our audience. So if ever there was a time for us to ask you a favor, now's that time. If even a tenth of the people listening to this show took the survey, we could double or even triple our advertising revenue, which would allow for more live shows, more conventions, and even more cool stuff we want to share with you. So pretty please with sugar on top, go to podcast.study, that's podcast.study, select all of our shows that you listen to, both Scathing Atheist and God Awful Movies are listed, and fill out the survey. It takes less than 5 minutes, it's totally anonymous, but you'll be helping the show out in a major way. Now, we know that a simple ask isn't enough to get you all fired up, so we also wrote you this sexy survey anthem to get you pumped. So Eli, take it away.
Ask of you a favor, and we know it's one you've had to do before 4 other shows, but this is how podcasts sell ads. If you all take this survey, even though you don't want to, big companies will pay our show amounts you can afford to. Please take our survey. It only takes a bit, and if you do it now, I won't fuck up your shit. I'm sorry I said that. This is just important to me, and if you don't do it, I'll fucking break your knees. Now we know that there are other shows that have asked you all to do this, but they didn't write this song for you, and one of their hosts isn't Jewish. You can go to podcast.study and take one for the team, or you can ignore this song and be super fucking mean. Please take our survey. It takes a minute, and if you do it now, Heath will make love to you. Just take the survey. You could already be done, and we will use that money to make the show more fun. We'll do live tours and we'll come to more cons. We'll make some more t-shirts. I'll try to make YouTube work. I fucking hate YouTube. Like I get that it has good parts, but honestly it seems to me 90% bloody shit farts. Sorry, back to the survey. Podcast.study, please. You could get us some mans. We're begging on our knees. Please take the survey. Survey, 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 survey. Take the survey. Take it. Take the survey. It only takes 5 minutes. It's anonymous if you're one of those weirdos who's like, oh, they're taking my information. It's not that. Survey. Take the survey.
Did you promise everyone I would fuck them if they took the survey? Is that what I just heard?
Podcast.study.
Okay, I mean, I will. I just, ask me ahead.
And we're back for the breakdown, and we're going to start off with a VO from a person admitting that you would have to be an idiot to believe this movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's like, this movie's about a man who spends a weekend in the woods with God. But hear me out. Hear me out.
Right? Yes. Might as well, opening line might as well be, y'all ain't gonna believe this here shit.
I feel like half the test audience was like, bullshit, no. Then they added that line. Okay, wait, let's hear him out.
Just a bunch of people half lowering themselves back into their seats. Right. All right.
So we start off back in the days of sepia when Mac was just a young boy.
Yeah, and despite the fact that this movie will take place in younger times, he appears to have been born and raised in the 1940s?
Or 20s or something, yeah. Yeah, and his dad was a mom-beating kid hitter. So we get a little bit of that. And since we're almost a full minute into this movie at this point, it's time to meet our magical black lady.
Yeah.
It's so good. She might as well fly in during the preview, like over our heads in the movie theater, and just like into the screen before it even starts. So stupid.
Yeah, and she offers him a pie that she has just taken out of the oven to really just hitting all those stereotypes in the first 30 seconds of meeting her.
Yeah.
And she sits him down and she says, parents aren't supposed to hurt children, in a movie about how God hurts his children. The lady who will later be God is like, parents aren't supposed to hurt their children. They're supposed to know better than that. Later in this movie, I am not at fault for hurting my children.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Also, her advice, because she sees that he's got the black eye, and she's like, oh, your dad did this, didn't you? And he's like, mm-hmm. And she says, well, I've got an idea. Why don't you talk to God? Not, here's the number for Child Protective Services. She's like, have you prayed about it? That works. And it doesn't, by the way, because then the very next scene, we get him confessing to his pastor, but his dad figures it out from the evil look the pastor gives dad.
The pastor's obviously like, did you try swallowing a fly? I don't know why you swallowed a fly. No one will help this child. Help this child. There are systems in place.
Well, right, exactly. Shame there's not a government place where he could have done that anonymously a little bit more, huh? Yeah. But
if I pretend that Child Protective Services isn't listening, will you go to them?
But dad figures it out. So then we get him getting like beaten in the rain.
And the dad's yelling like, say the Bible verse about why I'm allowed to beat you right now.
Yeah, right.
Like, this movie is not good at bringing up things that make Christianity look good. It gets worse from here. Way worse, in fact.
It does, but I feel like that was what they thought they were doing with this movie, is saying, like, here's people using religion wrong. Later, we'll show you people using religion right.
You would need to do it right then. Afterwards, you'll see.
That's where it all falls apart, yeah.
They just do it wrong worse.
Don't use the words of, because that is in the dad, let's just be clear, the dad is right. Right?
Yep.
According to the way to be wrong is to be like, oh, this is a bad book of rules and morals. Oh, look at this, a comic book. I'm going to use this from now on. Wolverine never hits his kids. Great. Here we go. X-Men 41, the new book.
So the VO tells us about how the beating lasted well into the night. And then the movie takes a dark turn when little Mac decides to take matters into his own hands by killing his dad
Good for him.
with rat poison.
Yeah. Him and Charlize Theron.
Yeah, eat your heart out, suicidal black kid in the alley. This is how you open a movie. So, okay, so then he wakes up in the modern day. Like, we get this movie doesn't ever give you the payoff. We get him pouring poison into his dad's beer. We don't get to watch dad slowly die of strychnine poisoning. But anyway, so now he wakes up in the modern day, and I just wrote in my notes, you guys remember when Sam Worthington was going to be famous? Like, when he was going to be a movie star? Oh, poor guy. But you really see several times in this movie why that never really happened
He's
for
going
him.
to start looking like Kevin Sorbo soon. Can't
Right?
wait.
Well, to be fair, I think the way he got away with murder of crushing up that bottle and hiding the pieces in his mouth for the rest of his life while doing my Mark Wahlberg impersonation was pretty clever.
All right,
a little tall.
let's start that conversation early. Okay, so Sam Worthington, Australian actor that he is trying to do American Midwestern Boston Northwestern. Australian.
It's not clear.
It's communist. He is so bad with his fucking accent, especially when he has to get emotional, because he does bad no matter what. But there's a couple times in this movie where he has to kind of cry and talk, and oh my god, it's like it's like watching Kevin Costner do Robin Hood.
Little pieces of peanut butter flying out of his mouth while he's crying. It's not attractive.
The Girl Scout cookies got there just before every single shot of this movie. Oh no, fuck you. If I wait, the Thin Mints will be gone. Are you a little doll? Absolutely. I refuse
Deep
this
cut.
accent.
Deep
This is a $20 million movie. They couldn't spend the $100 to pay a teenager to go, that don't sound like an American yet.
So he gets up, and the family is running late for church. How many times have we seen this fucking scene? And like every time I think we've ever seen this scene, the youngest child just destroys Christian theology with a simple question.
It's the best.
That happens so much in these movies.
She's like, all right, well, if God doesn't want us to be late for church, then why are we late for church? Shh, don't, you're being a bitch.
God, I'm
Stop.
so glad you're going to get murder raped in a second.
Honestly, I thought he was about to like take her out back and whip her there. Like, wait, hold on, it's not raining. It feels like it should. It was raining when I was. We're gonna wait for it to rain, then I'm gonna whip you.
Yeah.
Kids have it so easy these days. You're going to go in dry. I'm going to go hide all the strychnine I keep in my office.
So we head off to church so we can get our third church scene in the first 5 minutes of this movie. And all I wrote here was like, man, the lyricists just aren't even trying. Like, we open up on everybody singing, holy, holy, holy is God, God, God.
Right, but he doesn't believe enough in God, so he somehow can't keep up with that lyrical complexity. He's like, something, something, something is who? Wait, sorry. Chet.
Also, this is really fucking weird, and I barely caught it when it happened, but the voiceover, who is not, I don't even know if he's a character in this movie, but the voiceover tells us that, you know, Sam Worthington, he's pretty bummed and he's like pretty half-assed about his Christianity, but his wife has a great relationship with God and calls him Papa.
Yeah. Nice try. Look,
Weird.
I'm sure one day he saw Papa in her phone and he was like, hey, what's this? Your dad doesn't have a cell phone. And she was like, oh, that's what I call God. And he was like, sure.
Yeah. Why did you say Papa when I was fucking? You know what my way of saying God? Give me the cigarette.
Yeah.
You don't smoke. You don't.
It's for Fred.
It's crazy because I dialed the number and this Latino guy picked up. Why's God gotta be white? You're right.
No, he was.
The setup is so stupid. It's they're going for dramatic, but it's not dramatic. They're trying to sell it like an action trailer, like in a world where dad is lukewarm about religion. One man, Sam Worthington, is Lucas Warm. Like, it's so stupid.
Oh.
Yeah, so we cut to him. He's on the phone. He's looking out of his window, and he's like, no, honey, you and the kids stay elsewhere. I'll be here all by myself. It's too snowy for you to come home today, which is kind of like a bullshitty setup. But when you realize that it's not setting anything up, you really start to understand what we're in for in this movie.
And this is where we learn that since his daughter died, he's been struck with Batman voice. So the way this actor chose to play grieving was this.
Yes. Maybe that's what Americans sound.
Hockey pads.
Well, maybe he learned his American accent from Batman movies. Maybe that was his only exposure to the American accent. Could be that. Give him the benefit of the doubt. All right, so he's plowing his driveway with a snowplow when it runs out of gas.
Fuck you. Get a shovel.
Right?
Whatever. Gonna melt it with a blowtorch. Fuck off.
All of us have some form of, ooh, nice plow. That's how you can tell your hosts are aging, when we stop commenting on the women in the movies and start being like, oh, that looks like an X. Is that John Deere? I think it's an XJ47.
It's so much easier. Yeah.
We used to use a shovel and we liked it.
Used to. I gotta. Anyway, yeah. So he goes over to his neighbor's place to get some gas, and we need this scene because we want to see that, like, the neighbor wants to crack his shell of depression, but Mac just won't let him in. Very awkward.
And his way of showing that is he goes like, "You want to come over for some dinner?" And he's like, "Nah, I'm grieving for my dead child." And he's like, "Oh, you're being kind of negative Nancy about this whole dead kid thing." And it's been months. Right? Like, this is a man whose daughter was murdered months ago, and the movie narrative is like, come on. Where my kids dead?
So he's walking back from his neighbor's place, and he looks at his mailbox, and there's a letter in the mail. In this weather, impossible.
Yeah. You up? God.
Yeah.
That's basically it. It actually says, like, hey, you remember that time your daughter got murder raped? Kind of feel like I should explain. Holla back, God. Like, that's the note.
Yes, but please come meet me where your daughter was murder raped.
Yep.
Of all the, yeah, right. And he's so surprised by, and it's signed Papa, by the way. That's important because that's what his wife calls God. Anyway, so he falls down, and there's a whiteout.
I wanted so badly when he looked around for the black lady to just be sneaking away, just like, oh, fucking, I should have used a miracle. I'll see you at the cabin. I
know
could
Batman gets this shit down pat, but
dives behind a bush. No, I saw you. I saw you.
No, you didn't. I'm a robber.
And so, and now we're gonna flashback. Now I'm gonna tell you that I'm gonna do you that favor. Right? We've already told you that the daughter gets killed. We've already kind of given you an idea where the chronology of this movie is going. The movie doesn't give you shit. So we cut to earlier or later, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you this is earlier.
It's not clear at all.
And the family is all go, because we've done this twice now. It wasn't winter when they went to church. Anyway, so yeah, the family's all going camping except Mom. She can't get out of her seminar.
Right. And Mom could not be more speaking in exposition. She's like, you guys are going to have a great time and nobody's going to fuck your sister to death. It's going to be fantastic. We're all going to live forever. Have fun.
Well, right. They even snapped the "we're all going to live forever" picture quick before they leave. Yeah. Quick, while we're happy and unmarred by tragedy, guys.
The neighbor actually comes over. He's like, you guys want a picture with none of you dead? Can you jinx that? No. We're going to do a picture. Say nothing but consensual. Nothing but consensual.
Say we're never gonna die.
So they're heading to camp, but first this scene is so fucking weird. Okay.
I forgot about. Oh, I love this so much.
So fucking weird. So they're heading out to the summer camp, but first they pass the waterfall, and the older two kids really want to stop, and they're like, Dad, can we stop? He's like, no, we can't stop. Like, but you have to tell the little daughter about the story of the Indian princess, which you can't do while driving in a car. We must stop. So they stop at the waterfall so he can tell his story. Would anyone like to sum up the story here?
Ooh.
Eli.
Yeah. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful Indian princess. They tell this story at Yale every year on Halloween, by the way. And her father, the great chief Ugwug, knew that the great spirit was cursing all of the tribe. And they would only stop if the girl killed herself. So she did. And then the Great Spirit made a waterfall.
The end. Yeah, the story is once upon a time, a girl about your age killed herself jumping off a cliff.
Do you understand the lesson, 6-year-old? Do you get it? This is our family pastime story.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Like, that's such a weird, like, the family sing along at dinner, like, time for Noble Samurai song. No, Robin Williams song. Robin Williams song. Robin Williams song. Jesus.
Also, I should point out, he tells this song, he switches accents again here,
Yes.
and he tells this song exactly as Carl the Pug-a-Pegacorn. Exactly. It's like, hey, it's me, Carl the Pug-a-Pegacorn. Kill yourself to save your tribe.
Yes.
Definitely wasn't Tony D.
No, nothing at all
Totally
like
different
that.
person.
Maybe it was just a tour of the United States that we were getting from Worthington. I don't know. So finally they get to the camp, and I love, like, he steps out of the truck, and someone walks up and says, "Hello, main character. I'm your poorly developed friend for later."
Right.
That's me.
Yeah, and so far, I should point out, on this character's journey, he has just met a series of rugged, handsome men who want to help him and be his friend. It would be a great gay porn. I'm just saying,
Absolutely.
never pays off.
Everyone in this movie, they're like all models for lumberjack shirts. It's the budget for CGI beards is enormous and well spent. They are beautiful men.
Oh, I want one of those.
So then we get both families like joining up for a Brady Bunch sing along, not about the Noble Samurai. And I guess this is so that like we can see them all hanging out later, all the parents hanging out later when the little girl comes and says, "Daddy, we have to say prayers to Papa," so we can explain the Papa thing.
Oh, and it's so good because you get to see full-grown adults react to that behavior. He's like, "Oh yeah, my wife calls God Papa," and they're like, "That is weird."
Is she special? Is your wife special?
She make her own
No.
jewelry?
No.
God damn it. Tell
Did
me
you have
about
to get
it.
married in Louisiana?
She just worships Mexican potatoes, y'all. It's not as weird as you think. But Vicky likes it. Anyway, so he goes to pray with his daughter, where they will now reenact the "What Are the Stars" scene from Lion King.
Oh my God.
So
This movie, above everything, this movie is nauseating. My
Yes.
mom used to tell me a star twinkle is a prayer heard in heaven. Me. How much cutesy bootsy Moana reject stuff that hit the cutting room floor can we shove into this movie to make up for our rape apologetics? Every time you smile, God farts an angel. This movie's about a rape. This movie's about a rape and murder of a child.
But they call God Papa, and that's cute or something. I wanted God to start talking back to him like, "Papa's my father." Wait, I don't have. Call me Infinite Regress Problem.
Call
Perfect.
me Mr. God.
But the little girl is still fucked up over the suicidal princess story for some reason. Damn 6-year-old
No
can't
way.
shake it off. She goes, "Is it a true story?" And he goes, "Well, sometimes legends are based on true stories." And the other daughter screams from off camera, "Jesus isn't a legend, though." And that's how Heath reacted in the theater when that happened right there. It's me and Heath sitting in the back and like 26 old ladies who are apparently all together. They just came from Bridge or whatever. And Heath did that. And I'm like, "Oh, God, we're not going to make it through."
Oh, it was so good. And we should point out that it is so clearly like ADR, like, Jesus, no, not him.
Yeah, so that's not what we're talking about, y'all. Again, the test audiences were like, "What are you trying to say?" Yeah.
Fix it.
And this is where the 6-year-old girl once again destroys their theology by saying, "Hey, why was God such a dick, Dad?"
Yeah, right. Let's explore this. Seems like God's bad. Yeah, we're going to have to kill you off and then explain it. That's going to be the movie. We'll do the rest about that. It's perfect.
Yeah. Right. And she says, "Will I ever have to jump off a cliff?" And he's like, "No. I mean, well, maybe if God told you to, you absolutely should." I feel like if we want to abandon this idea, we shouldn't be going down this path. I just want to point out, there are viewpoints where one doesn't have to obfuscate the answers to these questions.
Cliff, though, I think we could do better than Cliff. That's like a boring death for a 6-year-old. Let's brainstorm.
You will be wishing for a cliff to jump off of by the end of it. Yeah. So the next day they're packing to leave, and the two older siblings, the brother and sister, are out canoeing while the youngest one colors pictures of the Indian princess.
Mm-hmm.
Who killed herself? Like, what kind of fucked up coloring book does this girl have? I'm going to make the noose purple and pink. What? What are you drawing? Don't draw that. Noose?
I ran out of red crayon again. She just exploded at the bottom, Dad. She exploded. Like, they don't have ancient Indian dental records, but like, seriously, like someone dropped Chicago pizza. That's what I'm drawing here, Dad.
So Dad looks out over the lake. He sees the kids in the canoe. The older daughter stands up in the canoe and is like, "Hey, Dad, I'm standing up in a canoe dangerously." And so the canoe tips over, and the son gets knocked
unconscious. Yes.
Guess.
Why? Did the boom hit him when they were jibing in their plastic kayak?
Yeah, I am the least outdoorsy person who doesn't live in a bubble in the world. And I know you can just come up underneath the kayak and be like, "Ha ha, I fell out."
But he's trapped under the canoe, so Dad must rescue him. So he runs off the dock and he jumps out, he swims and he gets the kid, and then he does CPR because that always works.
Yeah, that's how drowning works, by the way. You're brain dead for like a minute and a half, and you wake up and you're just like, "Ugh, totally fine. My brain had no oxygen for a minute and a half. I remember my times tables.
Yeah.
I will not be at the front of a baseball game for the rest of my life."
I wanted them to argue about the CPR, though, on the dock. They never have any, like, realistic, like, no, you're just, hands only is not for drowning. You're supposed to do the old one. And then they're all, a kid just, like, wakes up and, like, rolls back into the lake.
But while Dad was busy being heroic and everything and helping the son, the youngest daughter disappeared.
Right. And let's talk about this. We're supposed to assume a serial child murderer just hung out by this campsite and was just like, no, not yet. All right. Oh, this drowning seems like good misdirection. Hey, what's going on? Come on, let's go murder you.
Yeah, it seems like an odd MO. But yeah, he's been like, "Man, I've been here every week this fucking summer. If some kid doesn't drown in this goddamn lake, I'm going to a different camp next week." So he rushes off to find Missy. And of course, I'm thinking, you named her Missy. You were asking for this.
Also, you left your kid all alone at the fucking campsite, which, look, I know the scientist that Thomas had on his show said is totally fine, but this is what happens.
Helicopter dad in training. I just wrote, have you checked the septic tank, or is this a Protestant movie?
Eli's going to be a fleet of drones dad, by the way, yeah.
Yeah, right.
To my living children. Oh, my dad was kind of a helicopter dad, but then again, no one fucked me to death. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Oh, because our generation turned out so great. We're crushing it.
So we end up with the cops show up to look for the little girl, and they find a mysterious ladybug pin that will never pay off right where she was. This is apparently the signature ladybug pin of a known child serial rapist.
He has a calling card, and it's a ladybug pin?
It's weird.
Just a guy sitting in at Claire's. So, sir, how can I help you today? Okay, this is going to be crazy. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for like 150 pins for me to leave everywhere I abduct a child. Oh, okay, right over here. The unicorn killer's pretty popular right now. You don't want to be a copycat. How about Ladybug?
Ladybug killer. No, that makes sense. That's good. I specialize in little girls. So, no, and also, by the way, the cops here are so fucking inappropriate. Like, they keep coming up to him, like one cop's like, "Hey, Mr. Phillips, we're really sorry, but your daughter is so murder fucked right now. I mean, you just don't even know."
Hey, everyone with a daughter raise their hand. Not so
no,
fast.
you still have the one. You can raise one hand.
You raise it halfway.
Go get your surviving kids. I mean, your kids. I'm sorry. Just your kids. That's all the kids you have now.
They're genuinely excited. The cops, they're not doing any emotions here. They're like, hey, good news. We know what happened. It's a serial rapist. It's good for us anyway. We've been looking for this guy. Maybe this helps. It's not all about you. I mean, we're doing cases here. It is good news for some of us. Don't be a dick.
I saw one of them to come up and say, Mr. Phillips, we found your daughter. Looks like she jumped off a cliff to cure AIDS. Any idea where she would have gotten a crazy idea like that? No, I don't. I couldn't imagine.
Looks up at the sky. Great spirit.
So now we go to the, I guess, the kidnapping command center where he joins up with his wife. I love to. This will happen so much in the movie. Like, she'll come up and she'll go like, "It's not your fault," and I want him to go like, "I know. I mean, nobody. I was saving the other kid's life. I mean, why would you?"
It's not his fault, right? Like, oh no,
Fair.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Will you watch my daughter and then go?
Or just let God drown your son. Like, don't fuck with the plan.
Yeah.
Don't question it.
I feel like I don't want to go on the record as saying it's not his fault at all. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like I can make that jump. All right, so okay, and now someone explain this part to me, because as him and his wife are hugging and talking about how it's not his fault and whatnot, the cops come in and they're like, "Mr. Phillips, we found a truck in the woods. We need to go right now." Why the fuck does he need to go?
What pictures?
they're like waiting on the dad to conduct their FBI operation here.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like agents watching a guy rape a little girl. They're just waiting for the dad to be like, "Yeah, that's her."
Yeah, we don't want to have the wrong.
You can arrest him now.
Murder raped girl.
That's totally her.
Mr. Phillips, you're going to want to see this shit. I mean, holy shit. So they take a helicopter out to this shack in the woods on the mountains, and he walks in, and there's an FBI lady like standing in there, and she just kind of nods over to him like, "No, over there." I'm just like, this is the worst possible way to do this, guys.
They brought dad so he could get a dramatic reveal about his kid getting raped and murdered.
Right.
That's what the FBI's like meeting before. How do we tell dad? Like, verbally? No, he'll forget. Like, dramatic reveal, more visual. We'll do a dramatic reveal.
Wait. Let's put up a curtain. And
What?
A new car? No, it's your dead kid.
Where did the bloody
dress come from?
So, yeah, and by the way, at this point, Sam Worthington for the first time has to really like show some emotion. So he like cries here and reminds us why his career hit that ceiling when he was no longer animated blue by somebody who could fix the emotions.
Oh, and it's so good because he's got the Australian accent and he's trying to do the near that Australians do, but he opens he's like no near no.
So he goes to his neighbor, right? Okay, so we're back in the time where he's in the winter and he was plowing the thing, and he's got the letter from Papa, and so his instinct is to go to his neighbor to ask if he's starting another dead daughter prank war.
It's so weird. These neighbors have a weird relationship.
Don't they?
Just like cut to a week earlier and like Sam Worthington's hooking up Christmas lights that say "dead wife" with an arrow pointing at the neighbor's house. Okay, come on.
Oh, shit.
Really? I'm going to prank you about your dead daughter.
And the guy's like, "Hey, man, we're friends. I wouldn't make a joke about your death. It seems weird that you would even ask. Why did this occur to you that I may have done this?"
Yeah, no, not just, "Hey, we're friends, I wouldn't do that." Hey, I'm a human being, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a Shakespeare villain. So, and the neighbor goes, "You should call the police." Sam Worthington goes, "And say what? That I have a mysterious letter that may or may not have been written by God?" He's like, No, that.
Not at all.
No.
Just saying.
Just I have a letter that seems to have some knowledge of my, just that's all you really need to, anyway. Yeah, but this is where they reveal that there were no tracks in the snow by the mailbox. So unless like a letter could somehow sit there for a day and go unnoticed in a snowy day when you weren't outside.
Hold on. I know this. God parachuted in and the poison was in the ice. No.
The killer is still there. Yeah. Okay. So so his family gets home the next day while he's asleep on the couch, and we need this scene because we have to know that everyone hates everyone now.
Yes. This is almost a movie bingo at this point. That whenever there's any loss in any family, everyone's just like, fuck you.
Right.
Yeah, it's just this bitter, waspy family. Like, they're not even eating dinner just for no reason. It's like, Mom, will you tell my sister to please pass the salt and stop colluding with rapists to create diversions, please? All right.
For once in her life.
I'm going to put it on my wound.
Right.
And we know it for my wound.
This is a movie trope, but Mom's got her hair back, which is classic movie for kid is dead.
Yeah. I'm depressed and I don't care anymore. So I'm wearing a ponytail. Yeah. And Mom says, like, hey, you know, Dad and children, we all need counseling. And Dad's like, no, we don't. And then the movie vindicates Dad. Fuck this movie.
Don't forget we love each other. Also is how she ends this scene.
Yes.
She turns to him and she's like, hey, don't forget we love each other. And I wrote in my notes, something happy couples say all the time.
I just so wanted to cut her off. Like, don't forget, yeah, trash goes out on Tuesday. I know we love each other.
Oh, we love each other?
Oh, right. And the trash goes out on Tuesday.
Is that where we landed? On love? All right.
Also, and I hesitate to even bring this up, all right, because the actress that plays his wife is only like 3 or 4 years older than Sam Worthington. But Sam Worthington's like 40 years old, doesn't quite look it. So it looks like and she looks her age. So it looks like a 32-year-old guy married to a 45-year-old woman. Kind of looks weird the whole time.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with some age difference.
No problems in there.
Nothing wrong. The teenage daughter could probably have played the wife if you think about it. I don't know why everyone's so judgy.
12, 13 years, either direction, whatever.
Have you guys ever really watched iCarly? It's a good show.
So, okay, so then he's rid of them, I guess, or like gonna get rid of them. But first he's got to go to the post office to get to the bottom of this letter that doesn't have a stamp on it or anything.
Yeah, and the postman's like, yeah, I'm the mailman, so I can smell where notes come from, asshole.
Yeah, like, what's supposed to happen? Hey, can you tell me the origin of this paper? Yeah, it's from Genesis. Maybe God? So, I'm a postman.
So now we cut to him at a diner with the neighbor friend, because apparently Mac wants to borrow his 4-wheel drive so he can go to the shack and meet with God.
And his friend is like, have you prayed about this? And he's like, just give me the truck. I don't want to. Don't.
Well, and also, like, okay, the friend is like saying about this at least for a second. He's like, yeah, but what if it's the killer who we know exists and we know can leave letters? And he's like, yeah, what if it's God? And the neighbor's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, what if it's Elmer Fudd too? But like, what if it's the person that we know exists and would have this information and is a murderer?
Yeah, what if he wants to catch them all?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, homicidal Pokemon Go would have made a way better movie. All right, so, but his buddy agrees, like, hey, okay, you can use my truck, but only if I can come meet God too with you. And I think this is like, yeah, this is probably pretty sane, because, yeah, if you kill yourself out there, then my truck's just going to be out there. It'll probably be evidence or something.
Got to get some tow guy, and there's blood all over the seat. And he's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Looks like an Indian princess jumped off of a cliff into here.
So then we cut to him seeing his wife and kids off while his daughter seethes hatred at him through the car window.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted this to escalate into like big fight with the daughter. They're just like all arguing, then they look over, the son's kidnapped. That would have been great.
You need to
2
quit doing
ladybug
that.
pins with a note that's like, you need eyes on. Buddy system. Love ladybug killer.
Yeah, okay, so, and then they leave, and his neighbor pulls up with a GMC so they can go out to the shack. And I want to point this out, okay, because, so, like, he opens up his truck, and he's like, look at all the survival equipment that I'm going to bring that will never be used in this film. And also, apparently, he borrowed a gun from Chekhov.
Yeah, he brought a gun in case they want to kill God.
But like, again, just to emphasize how poorly made this movie is, this gun will never fire. I just like they're going for it. But while he's off getting his fishing poles, Max steals the truck and drives off. And he's like, oh, fuck. It's like being 15 again.
And his kid comes back in the house. His kids are like, thought you were going on a fishing trip. Gegger's canceled. Gegger is canceled. Yeah. Crazy.
So then we cut to Sam Worthington. He's driving along and he's thinking about his dead daughter. So he doesn't even notice that semi and almost dies, but doesn't. Like, look, we can afford to almost wreck a car, guys. That's all we got.
Also, we just have to point out that, like, he took a helicopter to the shack, but somehow he knows the driving directions there. Like, he was like, no! And he looked down at his phone and he was like, beep. Sorry, I'm just dropping a pin in case I ever have to come back here.
He's maybe thinking about buying property up there. We don't know. A lot could have happened in those months. So now he pulls up near the shack and he gets out of the car with the gun in his hand and he's slipping around on the snow. Like, if they were going for comedy here, this would make sense. But they're not, and still he steps into the shack like Reggie White just threw a nail into it.
Yeah, he's pointing his gun around to the shack. I wanted so badly for Black Lady God to drop down from the ceiling on top of him. Snap! Silent killer. Papa loves you, baby.
I was hoping he'd walk in and see God holding a different dead kid, just like talking to a different dad. Dude, I thought it was next Saturday. Like next. But this is the next Saturday.
It's Thursday. This is the coming Saturday.
Just say next if you mean next.
Put a date in your fucking mysterious note. Send a Google Cal invite.
Right? Come on, what fucking year is it, God? But instead the shack is empty, so he gets all sad and starts throwing shit around like, oh, all right, but I'm gonna fuck up your cabin where you take your dead rape kids. It's gonna be a mess next time you show up.
Good part of morning. I did this to the gym in Ireland my dad died in. They did not let me back to that crunch.
Jesus.
Good for healing.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Just me trying to tip a treadmill. These are a lot heavier than you sort of look. You'd think. I really thought I would get that sort of super strength, but I'm healing. And so
You gotta start it like a soda machine. You gotta shake it. You gotta wobble.
Yeah, help me tip this.
All right, we'll get it. We'll get it.
Back and forth.
All right, back first. No, back first. Back. We're fighting each other.
Someone at the desk. He's going through a thing.
Oh, wow. This is so much darker than I thought the murder rape movie review would be.
And then he's going to shoot himself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he gets interrupted by a deer. Like, by a deer that needs the space next. Dude's like, I wanted him to be like, oh, I'm in here from 4 to 4:30. And the deer's like, it's 4:28. Yeah, till 4:30.
It's so good. The deer like looks right at him. He's like holding the gun towards his face. I wanted the deer to be like, ooh, awkward. Sorry. Just slowly back out.
The deer introduces himself. Hi, new to the neighborhood. We brought an edible arrangement. It's a bear made out of pineapple. You seem busy. You know what? I'll explain like how long your lawn can get later.
Yeah, right. But apparently, in this moment with this deer, the deer looked at him in such a way that said, don't do it, man, because he puts the gun away and decides not to kill himself. And he goes to leave.
Because the deer like winked at him. He was like, all right.
Oh, well, yeah. No,
good
I
point.
guess.
Good
All
point.
right.
Deer
Oh,
wink.
Negotiator Deer. Where's that movie? It's just The Negotiator, but with a deer. Instead,
yeah, he's
of Denzel
negotiating
Washington.
between Fat Camel and Hellbound Kangaroo.
Just singing Jumper like Jim Carrey.
But he leaves and he's about to go back to the truck, but there's a person walking in the woods, so he decides to hide behind a tree and murder that person.
And look, here's the thing. This is going to turn out to be Jesus, but Crazy Billionaire remake of this movie, he just shoots Jesus in the head and God comes running out and he's like, oh, fuck. God, he's a person. This is the one of us that can die. God.
It's going to take me 3 days to fix this shit.
Yeah, well, I hope you like being persecuted forever. Because, yeah, the last people that did this is a whole thing. In a couple thousand years, people are going to be arguing about whether or not it's okay to punch people who killed you. It's a whole thing, trust me.
Starting
You
over
fucked
from
up.
scratch. God damn it.
And I'm going to have Jesus out to my cabin to forgive you. It's going to be a whole thing. We're only have 2 out of 3 of us to do that. It's weird.
Yeah, so this random innocent human walks by and he leaps from cover and points a gun to his face. But luckily, it's a Middle Eastern guy. He's used to this kind of shit. Happens all the time. He's like, yeah, come on up, have a not beer. Because we're not going to drink in this movie.
I would have enjoyed a playful snowball fight here. If that's like if it just like evolved into a sexual thing and they tackle each other.
We almost get that. We get so close to that before the movie.
It becomes very sexual coming up here.
Yeah,
Yes.
he almost fucks every member of the Holy Trinity.
Yeah, oh, yeah. And, okay, so he follows Jesus up the mountain, and it turns from winter to summer in a scene that should just have singing cartoon animals in it.
Tweeting birds put a cape on him.
Right. And, okay, I want to point this out, because I've spent a lot of time in my life in the mountains. The fact that he walks from winter into summer, this will be the only evidence he has that these people are God for, like, most of this movie. Right, like he's never going to ask from the to see a miracle or anything. This is all this shit happens all the time in the mountains. You walk from one season to the other. Elevation changes, the shadows change. South side of the mountain, north side of the mountain, that kind of shit. That just happens in the mountains. That's not that big. I mean, it wouldn't happen for days or whatever, but that just fucking happens. That's not a big deal.
Oh, see, you just missed an opportunity to convince me you have magic powers. Because if you ever were just like, hey, look at this, say winter, summer, I would have been like, huh,
magic powers.
Magic powers. I don't know enough about mountains. I am convinced.
Yeah. So
I forgive my rapist. You got me.
Yeah, Noah Lugeons rape forgiveness services. Just keep going up.
Pairs very well with my Lyme disease removal services. I don't want to say how.
We call it an ancillary. It's called an ancillary business.
Horizontal integration? What is vertical? It's one.
So he follows Jesus to a lake house, and this is where we're reintroduced to the magical black lady.
Oh, and her greeting is so long and so racist, the SPLC should put it on a list. She's like, Mackenzie Allen Phillips, as I live and breathe, up and down and all around. Happy birthday and no more Mr. It's so long. You're just like, oh, please stop. Please stop, Octavia. Please.
So he comes in. Okay, so now there are 3 people in this lake house that will eventually turn out to be
It's the Holy Trinity, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always pictured heaven as like Megyn Kelly, Black Santa, and hot Asian lady. So like close.
Yes,
to,
Yeah,
we're about to
exactly.
be-
1/3.
They're close.
Yeah, not so bad. But I love here. Okay, so she's like, I see you have a gun. Can I take that from you? I wanted him to like just rape him at gunpoint. Shouldn't have given up the gun, motherfucker. But let's think about this logically. Okay, so what just happened here is an armed man who pulled a gun on a stranger walked into their house, right? So like it's very possible that they're like, let me take your hand. He seems to think we're the Holy Trinity, y'all. Should we just play along? He had a gun. Yeah, let's just play along.
He's violent.
It could have been the whole movie. Anyway.
I wanted this to be a swinger community more than anything. So a house with an Arabic guy, a hot Asian, and an old black lady.
Yeah.
I'd run through that gamut.
The Asian lady's last name, by the way, looks so much like masturbate when you first, it's Matsubara, but when you first glance at it, it looks so much like masturbate. So yeah, so the old black lady is God, the Jewish Mexican is Jesus, and the retired foot porn actress is the Holy Spirit, I guess.
And she's so awkward because, like, she didn't get a book. She's just like a dove and a couple of thoughts. So they don't know how to represent her. They're just like, so what's new with you? And she's like, I collect tears. What? Yeah, figured we would. That's weird.
Well, Asian lady with a tear collection. I have a Google alert for that. That's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Anna turned to me because I brought her to this movie and she goes, I would karate chop her in the throat. And she's just like, oh, let me get it. Ow! Ow. Yeah, no, those are my tears.
You try to take, that's weird. That's just fucking weird. So yeah, so he doesn't know how to handle it. So he steps outside. But he doesn't leave. I would love if he's like, oh my God, I pulled a gun on Jesus. My mom would be so pissed. But instead he rips up the note and throws it away or whatever and wanders off to the deck by the lake. And Jesus follows him, and Jesus has restored the ripped up note. And I'm like, for fuck's sake, you're supposed to at least make him sign it first.
Yeah. So like he needed more proof here? Like, oh, Times New Roman, it checks out. Cool.
Yeah, right.
No, that's right.
You know he typed the note.
Was the
Was
wormhole
this your note?
It's the only note that was in the deck, though, man. I mean, you just had the one. Yeah, but apparently that's all the evidence he needs, that he's talking to the holy fucking Trinity.
Right. And he's like, so can I do what I want here? And he's like, you're free to do whatever you like. And I was like, fuck the Holy Spirit. Fuck the Holy Spirit. Also,
and Octavia?
yeah. Also, Jesus has this moment where he has this weird accent. I don't know what this actor was going for, but he's like, you're going to be all right. I wanted him to be like, you can do it.
So he decides to go back inside where God is cooking, and she's like, I'm wearing your mom's perfume. I smell just like your mom. And I wrote, that's fucking weird. And Eli wrote, I'm into it. That happens about the same stimulus so often in our notes.
And I wrote, Heath must be splattered in cum right now. So I feel like we know where everyone was at this point in the movie.
I was splattered in cum, but like, why'd you guess I was right now? I don't. Whatever. I'm seriously asking, why would I be splattered in cum right now specifically? Whatever.
So now it's time to bake bread with God. This movie is a Mother Grimm story as told by a fundamentalist who accidentally ate a fucking pot brownie.
And watched The Matrix and decided to steal the Oracle character.
Right, very clearly, yeah.
I wanted him so badly to turn to her and just be like, so while we're making bread, why'd you let my daughter get raped to death?
Well, but he kind of did.
That's pretty much what happens. Like, I know you're kind of pissed. Is it because I had a murder rapist rape your daughter? Yes, it is. Let's talk about this.
Figured that might be.
That's what this conversation is.
Yeah.
Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. Yes, I'm black.
I wrote in my notes at this point, it's like, I'm glad that talking like an American is hard for Sam. It makes me feel more like I'm accomplishing something right now. You know, I'm doing something that's difficult. Anyway, yeah. So God jingles some keys about the rape daughter. And to his credit, Sam Worthington's character is like, could you please stop jingling those fucking keys? You raped my daughter or allowed that to happen. So
yeah, her answer is, I never left her. And he's like, no. I didn't ask if you were in the room. I asked why you didn't stop. It's not about present. I was right there. Look, here's me taking a selfie with them. This one's hard because you could just see his back, but she's there. She is there. But it's like, seriously. And he's like, that's not a good answer. And she's like, never. Next lines is right.
Well, yeah. And then I guess that's enough for him because he moves on to the next subject. He's like, well, I feel like you make a habit of killing people's kids. Heard about your kid. But she's like, oh, you don't understand. And she holds up her wrist and she also has the stigmata. So now it makes sense. Are we going for sense?
And she says here, she goes, I'm not who you think I am. And I wrote Viola Davis.
Fuck.
Yes, but instead she says, love always leaves a mark. God, abusive husbands, and people who come early.
She was just like, wait, 1 sec, I gotta pause. Love always leaves a mark. All right, great. There you go. That's for the cover of the DVD.
Yeah.
And God also says, like, yeah, no, I technically, yes, I did let your daughter get murdered, but I never left your daughter.
Yeah.
So God just like jerked off in the corner, like cuck porn, and watched this happen. What the fuck?
I guess.
I never left you is what I'm going to apologize for whenever I do something wrong ever again.
I never left you. No, I wanted you to leave, though.
I wanted you to leave. I specifically said,
but I never left you.
I tased you, and somehow you pulled the barbs out of your butt. Details.
Right, but I guess he just can't handle the murder rape apologetics just yet. So he goes outside to look at a CGI blue jay.
Okay. By the way, I start to fall asleep here. And literally, I halfway through a note, like I had my little notepad. I wrote, "If you're real, scribble pen line off the page." Any ideas what I was starting to write? Can you?
Probably
line?
something about a bird wrangler watching this scene going, for fuck's sake, you just need him to sit on a branch and you didn't call me? So you didn't need him to you didn't have to fight.
Oh, I missed the bird.
Yeah. And that great line where God/Octavia Spencer says, that bird was created to sing. You were created to be loved. Your daughter was created to be raped to death. See, we all have our own special thing. You have to... Yeah.
With this bullshit.
Yeah, so then we cut to that evening where, like, he's sitting around having dinner with the Holy Trinity, and I'm like, oh my God, this is boring when it's people you like.
Yeah, making small talk with God, the movie.
Okay.
Because they literally say, so, Josh has a girlfriend now. Yep.
That's the actual line.
All right.
She's nice.
All right, I remember something. I was naked giving a speech to my French class in high school. I think I was asleep for this scene too.
Yes.
You guys, did that happen?
No. You know, I would have enjoyed the movie more. Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't. And also, okay, so this is like, we get this cliche all the time. Apparently, God cooks really good. But you can't tell that's what Worthington's going for because he reacts like if he was reacting to they just served me the eyeball of a human being, this would be the dead on spot on fucking reaction, right?
Yeah. I mean, look, I know they don't have good food in Australia because like the only meat there is like kangaroo and spider, but like yummy. No
right,
one, again, take 100 of your $20 million budget and get the That Doesn't Sound American guy to also go, good.
Yeah, something.
Delish.
Right. Well, I like he has to eventually explain. He's like, wow, this food is really good, in case you couldn't tell what emotion I was going for. So, yeah. And then he asks the Holy Spirit, he's like, okay, you guys have been talking to me all day, but if you're omniscient, you know what I'm going to say. Why would you even ask? Because omniscience makes no fucking sense, bro. 6-year-olds destroy this worldview twice in Act 1, and she didn't even have the sense not to take ladybugs from a hairy palm stranger in a trench coat, dude. I mean, what you think I've got an answer here? Anyway.
Yeah, and their answer is like, yeah, but we like talking to you. Like a stepdad trying to win over his kid, just like, hey, come on. So, any girls at school?
You know there are girls at school. I just wanted to hear you say it.
All right.
Yeah. So, but instead of answering the fucking fatal flaw in their worldview, instead, God sends Mac out with Jesus so that Jesus can show him some of his handiwork. His handiwork, by the way, is the night sky. Fuck you.
Again, it's just like, oh, God, we did so badly during those rape apologetics. What if Jesus makes shooting stars?
Yeah. Great. So you've been working on shooting stars. Cool. Well, if you get a chance, just, next time you're doing that, take a 5-minute break. Maybe stop all the child raping.
Just,
Have you got your pet project there? Just thought, though. When you get a minute.
I mean, I know vaporizing grains of space dust look cool and everything, but there's a reason why you were 33 and single.
There's another
asshole.
one, but seriously, the rape.
Yeah,
thing.
no, right, yeah.
And look, I've been in environments where I ate with an Asian lady, a black lady, and then an Arabic guy took me outside to talk to me about the sky, but I got to fuck everyone, and there were drugs. That's all I said.
Exactly.
And nothing
There are
against
certain
this scenario.
expectations in a situation like that. Yeah, right. So, but I guess we have to, like, this is the buddy cop moment with Jesus. He's like, all right, well, I'm still pretty mad about the rape killing my daughter, but you're all right, Jesus. You're pretty all right. You're good. And then he heads to bed, and he opens up the bedside drawer, and there's a Bible in it, which apparently was the funniest thing the old ladies in the theater with us had ever seen in their lives.
God's a passive-aggressive B&B owner in Ireland. Oh, congratulations on your man. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm going to go fuck in your guest room.
I wanted to open up the Bible, and it's just like hollowed out with a dildo inside. He's like, oh, this is perfect. All right. Nice. Octavia, let's get this going.
She is omniscient, yeah.
He needs to sleep in his God vision.
What? Yeah. So now this is the only realistic moment in the movie, though, because he starts reading the Bible and 2 pages in, he's dead ass asleep, dreaming about when he was in Avatar, no doubt.
Oh, Sigourney Weaver. No, I don't want to be healed by crystals. No. You went super crazy after Alien, man. I get it, man.
And
you
then
didn't age well, man.
she's crazy.
Whatever.
Hot.
I think
What
she.
the,
Yeah.
What the hell are you talking
Sigourney
about?
Weaver?
Okay.
What are you
Dynasty up
hoping
there.
for,
Oh, yeah.
married man? And
I like older women.
My wife is going to look the way she does forever.
yeah. And so then he has to dream about chasing his daughter a little bit, so that we can remind everybody that, yeah, no, there was totally a murder-raped little girl in this movie. I didn't want you to just get all like caught up in the shooting stars and whatnot. Murder rape. So the next morning, God is cooking again, which is about 90% of what black women do in movies. Not just in Christian movies. This is pretty universal, but yeah. So, and this is also where God decides to tell him that she's a Neil Young fan.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fine. That's fine. Neil Young's cool, but no follow-up questions on that? Like, I feel like they would have discussed more about who God would actually like. I feel like there'd be an argument in the writer's room about it.
I kind of feel like he would say something about those guys from God's Not Dead. Who are those guys? She probably likes them better.
Because he says, anyone you're not fond of? And she's like, no.
Yeah, and all of us wrote Hitler. We all have like 3 Hitler notes immediately after that, don't we? Yes, we do.
Yeah. Okay, you said nope. I'm gonna try that differently. Who do you like better, Hitler or Jewish people? Yes. Okay. No hard stance one way or the other on the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Cool. Just one other question. Aren't you a wrathful bitch? No. That's her answer.
Yeah,
He actually
right.
asked
Well,
her that.
that's where he goes because he's like, yeah, I was just reading your book, and there's all the Amalekite blood and the world drowning stuff in there. You're kind of the bad guy, right? What are you? And then she starts acting like Jeff Sessions at a confirmation hearing.
Yeah. Sin is its own punishment, except when I fucking killed the world. That was a punishment.
Well, that world was all flooded when I showed up, baby. Those children chose to get eaten by them she-bears. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Just Octavia Spencer getting arrested on cops with a flooded world next to her. Just like, what happened was, okay, here's what happened. What happened was, I borrowed a motorcycle from my friend, and he said, you better,
So now
you all know exactly that episode.
Oh,
of Cops.
sentences do not end in cops.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, no, that's where the sentence ends. So now God uses the keyhole analogy. Okay, so let's follow this analogy. You're only seeing your child being raped to death through a keyhole, but if you could see more, you would see that was a moral act. What the fuck else is happening in this room?
Yeah, you got to expand that picture for, okay, you're God. Now's your chance to expand that picture and be like, and you see that powered the machine that cured all the cancer. What? There's no.
Yeah, like
if that was the power to the cancer curing machine, we'd be like, well, we got to find a new power source for the cancer curing machine,
right.
don't we?
Yes. Well, look, yeah, murder raping children is not, you have to tell this to a lot of fucking religious people and religious leaders apparently, but raping children is not a context kind of thing. It's not like, well, I raped that child in self-defense. No, there are certain things where there is no context where it becomes moral.
Yeah.
So, and this is, okay, so he's trying to get out, and he comes across Sarayu, the Asian Holy Spirit lady, out by the garden. And I just love this line. She says, if you're looking for your truck, it's just past the trees. They're in a fucking forest. Yes, it would be past trees. Thank you for that.
The universe is past trees. I appreciate it.
Nice. Thanks. So basically, it's not inside a tree. Is what I should look. I'll look for all the not inside trees areas.
Not on a tree or, under, buried beneath. Yeah. But before he leaves, he should garden with her.
And she walks him through the garden, and she's like, this is my garden. What do you think? And it sucks. It's just like brambles everywhere. It's garbage. It's terrible.
Yeah. Well, and I wanted it, like, basically, this is how this should go. Like, he walks in and goes, wow, your garden looks like an analogy for my soul. This is an analogy. Oh, fuck, you beat me to it. Damn it.
This scene is so heavy-handed. Like, it might as well be labeled like a political cartoon with, like, block light and arrows pointing to everything. So stupid.
Just
Sign
Obama
your
stepping
soul.
in. I'm going to need a quarter of that.
Anti-federalist. Wah, wah. All right.
Yeah, she does this whole, like, you have to help me garden. And she's like, oh, don't touch that root. It's highly poisonous. But if you mix it with this flour, it's a medicine. Like, why not just have the medicine in the root, lady?
Well, I love it so much because she's like, the sap from this twig will kill you, but if you combine it with the flour, it heals you. That's not how that works. It's like, no, take a bite from each. Dying. My cancer's good.
Why did you make the poison? Well, somebody needs to be doing the raping. I mean, like,
Yes.
this feels like a bad system. Can you just skip the poison one? No.
Really, kid who poisoned his dad? You want to know why we need the poison one? Okay. Really? Because in that one little fight you had, you went down like a bitch. That's why. That's why we need poison. For people that are taller than you. That's why.
So, all right. So now we get to this, and every Christian apologetics movie has this moment, right? Where, and this one has several, where the main character has to be impossibly bad at answering simple questions for their point to make sense.
Yeah.
Right. This is where the Holy Spirit chick is saying, like, what is this good and evil of which you speak? Can you define them for me such that every single instance will be encompassed by them in this moment?
No. Well, then, it seems that you are wrong. No, we can just continue this conversation. Tell you what, quiz me. Go ahead. Throw a couple. Tell you what, rape, wrong. All right, ready?
Yeah, right.
Stealing bread to feed your sister's son, complicated. Look at us. We're nailing this. 2 for 2.
Well, and look, if the character then turns to her and says, I tend to go with that which minimizes harm while maximizing freedom, she would have nowhere to go. She would have been like, oh, fuck, no, that's pretty good. It's not mine. I read it on a blog.
What about if that was a great,
That does it, doesn't it?
but what if the rape is needed to power the cancer machine? She also says, have you ever been wrong about what's evil? And I gotta say, like, look, I'm sure there are people out there, but like, being wrong doesn't mean that like it's impossible to know a thing.
Oh, yeah, right.
And can we talk about the powering the cancer healing machine? I mean, wouldn't consensual do it if it was the same? Couldn't we just have consensual sex?
No,
powering
it's the fear and anger. Yeah, no, it's a whole thing. It's like Monsters, Inc., but way darker. Yeah, and then I love
Where's that remake?
Crazy billionaire money away. So yeah, and also I love too at the end of this scene she goes like, this garden represents you. Because we honestly thought our audience still needed that spelled out for them.
Yeah, it says metaphor with an arrow that points at me wherever I go in this ridiculous scene. I know. Thank you.
All right, well, unlike this movie, we recognize when a person needs to stand up and take a piss or something, so we're going to pause for a quick break, but before we do, let me give Act 3 the hard sell. Will Mac forgive God for being so callous about the murder rape? Will God forgive Mac for being so bitchy about the murder rape? If the Holy Trinity had a pan-racial menage a trois, would that be considered masturbation? Find out the answers to the less interesting of these questions and more when we return for the laborious conclusion of The Shack.
Why, hello there, Noah.
Hey, how's it going?
You can call me Illusia or Papa.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, no, I get it. You're God. I figured you do this kind of thing occasionally.
Well, I have been known to reach out to the children I'm
especially fond of. Yeah, I got it. Okay, well, I'm not buying this, so I'm gonna break a bunch of your shit. And whenever you do this, I presume forever you're gonna remember that one of us showed up and took a shit on your bread dough.
You took a shit on my bread dough?
Sure did.
That is ruined now.
Not necessarily.
I'll eat it. Want to split it?
Heath, get out of here. You go back to the garden now.
Sourdough?
Now you, Heath Enwright and Eli Bosnick, shall be wisdom.
Cool, got it.
Sure.
All right, who goes to hell? The murderer, the drunk, the rapist?
None of them.
Yeah, no, nobody goes to hell. We just don't let them do crimes.
Yes, but when they do?
You're not listening.
Right, no, okay, let me try here. Catch this rock. See what I'm saying?
See what?
You caught the rock. you stopped it. We're going to do that. We're going to stop bad stuff.
This is so stupid. It's a cave?
No.
I have no idea.
Here is judgment. Who is to say what is right and wrong?
Oh, I'm going to stop you right there. Us. We
Collectively.
Right. You're right. Over time. That's how it works.
Yeah, last time you gave us rules, they included hand chopping and slavery. Why a cave?
Right, but what of free will?
Not a thing. Not a thing.
Yeah. How about people keep it right next to their psychic powers? That's where we'll put the free will.
Okay, then which of your children
still none. Still none.
Jesus, it's so damp.
Okay, fine. You guys do it then.
Yay! Okay, we're judgment now.
Woo! Okay. Yeah. All right. Pants are a sin.
Yes, thank you. Big one.
Ugh, worse than rape.
And we're back for more of this shack. And when we last left our hero, he was considering sticking around at God's lake house after all, on account of that awesome garden metaphor that was disguising the fact that this movie absolutely had nothing to say except for, dude, you're all kinds of fucked up. So we rejoined him wandering back to the house where Jesus is carpenting, as he's wont to do.
Making a shelf.
Yeah. It's not a chair, but it's pretty cool still. And Jesus says, hey, man, why don't you go out on the water in a boat so I can show you.
The walking on water thing?
No, it was a thing. I was going to, well, maybe you ruined it now, but go on the boat.
Right. I'll meet you in a minute. I got some orders to fill.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
yeah.
So I got 6 Wundersnoonerdits to make and 4 Gelurtens. What's a Gelurten?
So he goes out on the boat, and wouldn't you know it, it's a nightmare boat.
Nightmare boat. And his boat starts to fill with black water and blood. You know, that old story.
Yeah, dead kids floating to the surface of the water. Going to Eli's lake house.
But luckily, just in time, Jesus comes over and he's like, hey, don't think about that. Literally, that's it. To cut it out.
Stop being all on a devil boat, bro. So Jesus walks out on the water, surprise, surprise, to calm him down and to calm the angry, bloody, dead kid waters.
Dad's like, okay, yeah, like I get it. I called it, actually. I see you walking on water right now, but you're still accessory to murder rape. That's not like, I'm not switching. But literally 10 seconds later, he's like, yay, water walking. I understand rape in the universe. Cool.
Well, right. Yeah, exactly. Because Jesus like loans him his water walking powers here or whatever. And that's enough to convince. Okay, first of all, what a boring fucking superpower. That would be like walking on the ground, right? I mean, we can already walk on things.
Walking on the ground is not a power.
No, it's not. But also, this is the Blue Jay was the first example, but this is also another spot where the CGI is terrible, and this does not seem like a tough thing to CGI. Right?
Nope, not at all. I'm gonna go with a good old Chris Angel here and say some plexiglass on top of a pool was more convincing.
Yeah. And no, seriously, yeah, like that would have been better. But yeah, so they're walking on water together, and Worthington is way too excited about this. And this is where they have the, it's not a religion, it's a relationship conversation.
Ugh. He says, religion is way too much work. And I wrote in my notes, I agree.
You're right.
I think we have different conclusions, but I agree.
Yeah. And he also says, I don't want slaves, I want friends. And I'm like, that's what most people who steal people say, that they want. We just wanted to be. I'm sure the guy who took Brie Larson to the room wanted a girlfriend.
Right.
So anyway, yeah. And then he's like, I don't care what you call it. I just want people to feel love.
I wanted him so bad. He goes, I just want people to be loved. And I wrote in my notes, hey, me too. I'm also okay with them being gay. Now you go.
Yeah, that's right. Some people, I want some people to be loved.
He just pushes him down into the water.
I want people to be full of love, like your daughter was. That was inappropriate. I'm sorry. She was full, though. Very full. And then Jesus gives him a side quest. He's cribbing his fucking homework off of Yoda at this point. He's like, you must walk this path alone. No, leave your weapons.
Without Gandalf. Okay.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. So he said, Jesus sends Sam Worthington down a path in the woods, and then it leads to a dead end, and I thought it was supposed to be like a Kung Fu Panda ending. Oh, I'm what's at the end of the path. But no, he can walk through rocks now, too.
It's a lesser-known Jesus power.
It's way cooler than the water walking, if you ask me. But yeah, so he walks into this like rocky cave. I'm like, first you're going to need to find the map. And there'll be a special weapon in here somewhere, compass eventually, but yeah. But instead he comes across a woman on a rock throne, and I'm like, please tell me that's the Indian princess.
But there's this great awkward moment before he acknowledges the lady. And Sam Worthington is clearly pissed at this point. He's like, all right, fuck, fine. Who are you, lady on a cave throne? And how long were you sitting there waiting for me? This is really weird.
I've been here for months.
I wanted her to just like be running out of a bathroom in the back. Fuck, seriously, I said, because I held it, I swear, for like 4 hours, but you guys just took forever to walk across the lake. And, she made breakfast burritos. So do not go in there. It would not be wise, believe me.
And this is Wisdom. Yeah, that's who this is. She would know. And Wisdom is sexy. That's good. Mm-hmm. That's good. I like that.
And Wisdom is here to judge the rape victim's father.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there's some judging going on here. Okay, so he's like, oh, judging. She's like, well, you do it all the time, you racist. And I'm like, I was picking up on that, too. The way she kept telling God how much he really does like Cuba Gooding Jr. seemed weird. She wasn't asking about Cuba Gooding Jr.
And I wanted her so badly to start bouncing a basketball off his face. Here, you be the judge. You be the judge. You want to be God? You want to be the man?
Yeah, and that's what it is, right? Like, so it's like, it's time for judgment. And he's like, oh, you're going to judge me. No, you will be the judge. You get to sit in the big rock chair throne.
Okay.
Great.
I've never been in a wisdom cave before. Just tell me, like, what we're fucking doing. This is weird.
Help me out here.
Is the cave required?
Also,
part of it.
Can't we get a better? I mean, Muslims have way better couches. I'm just saying, you've got a wooden, like, rock throne thing going on here. He didn't even have wood. Anyway, so yeah, but this is where he has to forgive his dad that abused him and that he killed because his dad was also abused.
Right. And this is this stupid pain justifies abuse trope. And just to be super fucking clear, as though this needed to be spelled out, if you were abused, it doesn't justify abuse.
No.
And if your abuser was abused, it doesn't justify it. It's funny. Bad behavior doesn't create more bad behavior. Two wrongs don't make a forgiveness. Or I don't know really how.
In this stupid fucking, right.
But her answer is, no, don't you see? Like, Adam hit his kids, and there's just been a straight line of kid hitting all the way to you. I wanted him to be like, oh, I feel like I shouldn't stop it then, right? Because, like, if I don't beat the crap out of my son, well, no, wait.
He won't have an excuse.
Shit, I guess. Okay, what about a guy who just starts?
And also, it's like, a lot of this is, and look at your daughter's rapist. You see him only as evil, but look at him letting that lady cut in front of him at the grocery store. She has more than 11 items.
So weird. Yeah. Wisdom lady's actually like, what about murderers, drug dealers, terrorists? Are they evil? And he's like, okay, I feel like you want me to say no, but that can't be right. I did want you to say no. I did.
That is
right. Explain it. Everybody's evil since Adam.
Yeah, well, right. And the point is like, okay, well, nobody's guilty of anything if God exists. She even says that, right? Nobody is guilty of anything if God exists. I'm like, way to make the opposite of your point, movie.
Except God.
Well, right. Yeah.
No, not him. Especially not him. Her.
Yes.
Him. It.
So yeah, but he doesn't want to sit in judgment because it's just weird and she doesn't explain the rules to him or anything. So now she wants him to choose which of his kids will burn in hell for eternity.
Oh, neither. You must choose neither. I made all the rules. Hell's gone now. Poof. Ha ha.
Hold on,
you want to play a game?
Hold on, is one of them a rapist?
Well, yeah, I mean,
does that really change anything? Yes.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Does it? Yes.
So the analogy they're going for here is like, well, if you can't choose which of your kids burn in hell, then why should God? It's like neither of his kids is a child murdering serial rapist. I mean, I feel like that makes the choice easier. doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And also, by the way, he doesn't have rape-stopping magic. That's the other thing, right? It's not like it's just about, well, are you going to burn this guy in hell for eternity? Because that's a little much no matter what the guy did. But it's also about, like, you could have used your god magic to stop the kid raping. You're not really addressing that with this analogy, are you?
Mm-mm. Yeah. So, yeah, again, like in a game where you make the rules and the choice can be neither, you can stop the crimes, which would be problematic enough that you might have to choose one.
Or you could at least make sure the guy got caught later. You could at least drop a note for the cops. This is like he raped a lot of kids. Wasn't just the one. At this point in the
movie, my wife, who, again, plays video games throughout all of these movies, just looks up and goes out loud in a theater full of old black ladies, goes, "What the fuck is happening?" Stop. There are like 7 of us in here.
Yeah. And again, it's like, they're like, yeah, you know, our rules are so fucked up that if you enforce them, you would be a monster. So we don't enforce them.
This scene is nonsense. This scene is nonsense and relies on the stupidity of Sam Worthington's character to not be like, wait, no, you can't. That's
none
wrong.
of this makes any kind of sense. Yeah, I mean, her excuse for kid rape is, it was you humans that did all the kid raping, not God.
Yeah. Right. And there's even a moment where she goes, "Oh, evil, you say? Who made that?" And I wanted him so badly to be like, "Steve, can we go to his cabin and fuck him up? Is there a person?"
But he doesn't want to be the judge anymore, and I guess that's what she was waiting for him to admit that her job's real hard. And then a wall of giggling water opens behind him.
Right.
And waterfall opens up. I wanted a Native American girl to just fly past him. Splat.
Just splat.
Fantastic.
Just explode on the floor in front of him. He's just covered in blood. Oh!
Okay, I'll be the judge now, I guess.
Whoa, someone just dropped it's like 1,000 cans of tomato sauce.
Oh, okay, 9.8. Pike position was good. I'm being a judge. But other than that,
just a Russian judge behind him.
Yeah.
4.
But instead, what we're getting is a doorway or window or something where he can look into heaven.
Yeah, heaven, you walk through a commercial for Irish Spring soap, and then you're in heaven. That's how it works.
Just on the left there.
Interesting.
Why is heaven always running in a field? We have fields here. Why aren't you playing live-action Metroid, flying a pterodactyl through the rings of Saturn, fucking yourself in your own ass with your gigantic 3-jointed dick? No? Fields? You want fields running?
I hate running.
Right?
And I hate all those kids. I can tell they're sticky from here. It's gross. God. Heaven?
Oh, honey, you had a popsicle, huh?
On the back of your head?
On your nose?
How'd you get it on the back of your head? Jesus. Why am I touching the back of this kid's head? It doesn't matter.
Because you're making heaven your own, that's why.
Oh, God.
I didn't judge your heaven when it was Saturn and pterodactyls.
I'm moving on very quickly. So, yeah, and he wants to make sure that
I want to fuck a child. That's 2. I'm going for a supercut. The end of the year.
All right.
Set to techno music.
All right. Well, we gotta get Eli a cool calling card. The ladybug pin is taken. What can we get him?
I can have a pterodactyl pin.
There you go.
Perfect.
Pterodactyl on Saturn. Nailed it. Yeah, so he makes sure that his daughter forgives him for letting her get murder raped, which I guess she does. And then he heads back down the path where Jesus is skipping stones a la Reggie White.
Why can no one ever skip stones in movies?
It's not really that hard to do.
I'm not an athletic dude, but I know that, plunk, that's throwing rocks into water. And look, that's fun too. I'm not saying you can't enjoy throwing rocks into water. It's just not skipping stones.
So Worthington comes down and he turns to Jesus. He's like, yeah, thanks for letting me see my murdered daughter. He's like, yeah, it's the least I can do. He's like, yeah, no, it literally is the very least that the magical, omnipotent person could do. But yeah, thanks anyway.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for letting me listen to my dead daughter's podcast.
And then he wants to go lake walking some more.
They have a race.
They do.
They have a foot race on the lake. I laughed way too hard and way too long here. Theater hated me. They probably hated us already, but
Yeah, no, this is where I lost it. Like, there was a couple of times where I had to hold it back. This time I was like, oh, fuck it. Because they might as well just be running along to talking about my best friend. I mean, it's so ridiculous.
I would have loved a montage of like romantic top of water stuff, like a tandem bike together.
Eating an ice cream cone on top of the water.
They got a bunch of shopping bags all of a sudden. And they're like, what's going on?
Doing a montage. He comes out in robes. He's like, He comes out all crucified. Comes out as an Arabic guy. Yeah. Turns to a mermaid. Big mistake.
And then he heads back to the cabin where God's just chilling and catching some sun. Apologizes to God for getting all mad about the murder rape.
He does. He's like, yeah, sorry, I got all worked up about you guys inventing murder and rape. And murder raping my daughter.
Yeah. No worries, honey. It happens all the time. Like, all the time.
And his voice, and now he just went Australian for this scene, by the way.
They might as well have just cast
fuck
Eli to play Crocodile Dundee in the next movie. And then he and the Trinity head out to a field together because the wisdom scene wasn't stupid enough.
He's going to have a God vision.
Well, and he's going to use God vision. Like, they give him a God viewfinder so he can see the way God sees with light and color.
Okay, I think we just call that vision.
That's
right.
That's what we call that.
Lights, the visible light spectrum. That's vision. That's seeing things. Everybody does that. You can't not see things that way.
Yeah, shitty job, God. I've done salvia. I win.
Yeah, right? Yeah, but to God, apparently everybody looks like they were running out of CGI budget. I mean, it looks like a blurry view of a light bright as seen by an ant. It's just multicolored light, people. Why the fuck not? Okay. But these are all the dead people's souls or whatever, all 106 dead people in the history of the universe. And one of the light people is walking towards them. And wouldn't you know it, it's the dad he rat poisoned to death.
It's his dad. And they meet each other in the field, and he's like, Mackenzie? And I wanted him to just beat the shit out of him and come back all covered in blood. Guys, that was so much better than seeing my daughter. I had to touch him. Fragile. That, you have no idea how good that felt.
I'm bigger than him now. It's awesome.
Who's hungry?
No, but instead he forgives his light dad, and light dad forgives him too, and now they're both light.
Squaresies.
I really wanted them to run into like Muslim God doing the same thing here on this light field. Like, right. Oh, did you guys have the field of dead light people now? Like, yeah, man. We had like, look on your Trello and like, come on. And like,
the deer pops its head in. I have a bunch of dead deer coming in at 2:30. Yeah, it's 2:38. It's 2:28. Interrupting deer. They like, just turn to a Muslim guy. Big mistake.
Missy and Aisha start making friends. You got raped? Yeah, I got raped. Oh my God. This is so cool that we're light people now. Talking.
So God says, let's go home. And I says, don't tease me, movie, because we're not even fucking close. And then he wakes up and there's an old Indian dude standing over him.
Yeah. Because you know what? I was worried this movie wouldn't get racist enough. And they were like, hey, we haven't had the most stereotypical looking Native American guy in the movie yet. And I feel like Octavia Spencer's really said all the offensive black things we can have an offensive black actress say.
I was very confused by this scene. Like, I was like, oh, is this the dad whose daughter jumped to her death? Are we going to address that? And then I'm thinking like, okay, did they double book the apologetics cabin? Like, what's going on?
Oh, you're not running, Bear. Talk to him.
You're running long, aren't you?
Guys, there's a calendar. Use the Google Doc.
Deer pops its head in. Don't even fucking get me started.
But apparently this is also God. Octavia Spencer is a shapeshifter, and she says, you're going to need a father for what you have to deal with today. Lady genitals just wouldn't cut it for this. Yeah, so, they also had to throw a little sexism in with the racism. Like, why would that make sense unless God needed to penetrate with a penis or piss on him from a lateral distance? How else would God not having a vagina help in this moment?
Bone density.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so we can walk faster. Okay.
They've got a wrestling tournament to get to.
Okay, so from here on, my note just says, "Oh God, it never ends." From here on, for a fucking The Shining level amount of times.
Oh God! So they go to this healing trail, which, by the way, I'm going to start calling people on a healing trail about everything. So
okay,
get ready for that.
All right.
And they discover the child molester, right? And I wanted so badly for them to just beat the shit out of the child molester to All Star by Smash Mouth. This is why I needed to be an Indian guy now. Missy just comes in from heaven with the elbow drop, like way out of the sky. You'd forgive this entire movie if that's how it ended.
Oh, yes.
Like he just wakes up in a cabin when it's over. Next to like a bloody stump of a dude. The spirits really did it. That's a great ending to this movie. They don't do that, but that is the best ending.
They really should have talked to us.
They do the opposite.
Yeah.
Because Native American guys are like, okay, it's time to forgive your daughter's murder rapist. He's like, I don't want to forgive the murder. He's like, you have to say it out loud. All right. I forgive the murder. You mumbled, doesn't count. You have to say it. God damn it.
So he forgives the ladybug. That's what he actually forgives, is a ladybug that represents the rapist, I guess. And then they have to break into his daughter's burial chamber, I guess, because that's where the Triforce is. Your daughter's rotting corpse. Just what we needed to help you psychologically heal.
Ooh, I missed a good part here. This is where I got up and went to the bathroom. And I was I walked into the ladies' room for a second. I was half asleep. It took me way too long to realize there were no urinals. I backed back out. It was really awkward.
Yeah. It's all right. Trump's trying to do something about that. So as part of his healing, they now want him to pick up his daughter's corpse. She might come up in pieces, so be careful, and carry it down a trail while holding it under his nose.
Right, and they wrap her in a shroud, and I wrote in my notes, great, now Missy's face is going to be on the shroud. People are going to think it's magic. Going to have to debunk it in the 90s, but assholes will still send you Google images of it.
This is where I came back in. I was hoping she'd turn into a sheep. I walked in, he's carrying her, like all in white. Just like, kick him and run away. Okay, you have to start over.
So he gets down the mountain with his festering, stinking corpse, and then they have a new, second burial for her. I guess that's what Jesus was making. It wasn't a shelf, turned out to be a daughter coffin.
How long was he making that? Like, she comes in 4 months ago and she was like, J-Dog, I need you to stop that table. I need to make another baby coffin. Yeah, another baby coffin. I don't like your tone. I tell you what, you want to stop making baby coffins, maybe we stop letting kids get raped.
Oh, I didn't say that.
Whoa.
Butterflies or ducks? Butterflies or ducks?
Ducks.
So they have their burial. And of course, because they felt like something from the first act had to connect to something from the third act, they have Sarayu dump all the tears into the grave of the little girl. So now he's good.
If they started singing Rent, this movie would be perfect. 525, not appropriate, sorry. I felt that moment wrong.
And then, of course, once they get done burying her, a big fake-looking CGI tree grows out of her grave, all stupid.
It's so stupid.
Because of the tears, right?
Yeah, I guess.
So crying is good because if you save the tears, they come in handy when you bury the corpse of your dead daughter and need quickly blooming things. That's the lesson?
Yeah, right, like a butterfly tree, because that's what it is. Right? The tree opens up and butterflies start blooming out of it. For fuck's sake.
I'll save my tears if I can make a butterfly tree. Pretty cool.
So now he's drinking tea with God and Jesus, and the movie still isn't fucking over.
I wrote, oh God, they're going to try and sell him a timeshare.
God, that's so how this plays. Okay, now it's time for the hard sell. But actually, they kind of are, though, because this is where he has to decide whether he wants to go to heaven or go back to being alive.
Yeah. And okay, apparently it was just me looking over the notes, but I was like, you should stay. You should stay. Your life isn't great. You should stay.
I mean, this is such an easy fucking choice, right? Like, okay, we're talking about eternity in heaven. You're going to fuck up your wife for what, a couple decades at most versus eternity? This is stupid. This is the easiest choice. Would you like to never suffer again? Let me think about it.
Go grab some Holy Spirit, boob. Come on.
Chris Benoit walks past. Hold on, though. Hold on. You can get back here whenever you want. I'm just saying. Bring your family.
Yeah, but he decides to go home because this is a stupid movie for stupid people about stupid things. And also God says, okay, when you get there, can you fix Kate? She's still all fucked up about the daughter rape too. And probably should have had you bring her to the cabin, honestly. But
yeah.
Oh, they also have the whole bit where they talk like the three-headed knight from Holy Grail.
Ugh.
Yeah. So now we need him to wake up. Okay. So in this movie, he seems to be hedging its bets on when he was unconscious, right? This guy has gone unconscious several times in this movie. He slipped on the ice, almost got hit by the truck. He fell in the cabin or whatever. But the movie can't decide when this happened. So they make him drive home and get hit by the same semi a different time.
Oh, I wanted him to like show up at, like wake up in the cabin and they're like, fuck, Mac, back already? Really?
Yes.
How was your 10 minutes back in life? Got him. All right, come on. Let's go dig up some more shit in your house.
You did have a
not
choice.
Believe what happened to your other daughter. I know. I know. Don't take vacations is one would think you would become more careful, but you know.
So now he wakes up in the hospital and it was all a dream and he never even made it to the shack. And Sam Worthington turns to his buddy and he's like, wow, that'd be crazy disappointing if this was a movie, huh? Would have made the whole thing pointless.
Ugh.
Stupid. And then the family comes running in and he has to tell his wife about his dream because no one else is obligated to listen.
Right.
By the Eli rule.
And she believes him.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. The guy who wrote this movie should have to fuck us all now. That's how this goes, because that's all this was.
Absolutely. I need to fuck Sam Worthington.
I don't think he wrote it.
GoFundMe. I don't care. GoFundMe.com. Don't crush my dreams. GoFundMe.com/ Eli fuck Sam Worthington.
So
take the survey, guys.
So the daughter lurks in, like, 'cause the whole family comes running, but the daughter is like staying at the edges of the room like a dog that knows you're still pissed at him or something. Yeah. And he needs, she's like, oh, I need a little alone time with Kate. And the family leaves and he goes, it's not your fault that your sister was murder raped. And she's like, of fucking course it isn't, Dad. God, why would you even say that?
I mean, she shouldn't have stood up on the boat. Like, that's not a safe...
I mean, if your brother had drowned, that would be all her. Like, if the brother had died...
the misdirection for the child, I just, like, the things... There are consequences for action. I feel like the whole... We're really giving out free passes here on God Awful Movies, episode 82, and I'm not ready. If your kid died, it's kind of your fault. That's all I'm saying. All I've ever wanted to say. This is our final episode. It's been great.
I feel like you've been able to wrap that point in like 12 episodes in a row somehow.
It's amazing.
I don't know how you keep doing this.
You are at that, yeah. And then...
How does he keep doing that? It's really been like 12 in a row.
He's a magician. And then the VO cuts in to wrap things up for us because we're almost done. And basically the VO was like, that afternoon, Mac bore his wife with this shit for hours. And oh, by the way, this movie would be narrated by the main character if he was better at the American accent. But holy shit, guy's a goddamn idiot.
Oh, God, I wish she was narrating it. That afternoon.
And I love too. Okay, so now think about what actually happened here, right? Because this was based on a true story, whatever. So this guy got hit by a truck after his daughter died, and he starts telling his wife about this dream for hours or whatever. And I realized, oh my God, this lady told him to write a book for the exact same reason my wife told me to start a podcast. There's an affinity here. Yeah.
Just sitting outside a grocery store. And another thing, you know who would love to hear this? Everyone but me.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll even do a part on it. Just literally. Just
I'll
wanna
buy you
eggs.
the microphone and everything. I swear, I really will. Yeah, and then we have to go down the list of all, like, his wife believed him because she's so dumb she calls God Papa. And all the people in church believed him too because they're self-selected for stupidity. Now, I'm sure there's some folks would doubt this story because they're assholes. The end.
Yeah, and there's this final shot, and I had this rather poignant moment where there's this final shot of him and his kids finally at the lake one last time, and them like on it. And I was like, isn't it weird how like in Jesus people movies, they always end up like normal dudes on lakes, and in science people movies, we always like cure cancer and go to the moon. Like, they do know that curing cancer and going to the moon is better than being a great dad, right?
I honestly don't think they would agree with you if you said it. Oh, I love their like spinning top in this movie too, right? Like the very end.
So stupid.
He goes to like step onto the water. He's like, and Mac even wonders sometimes if he can still walk in the water. And they show his foot go to the water, but then the movie ends right before, so you don't know if he...
I wanted so bad for him to step off the dock and just smash his head on the side and fall through.
His wife gets kidnapped. The Shack 2.
Okay, here's what I see. Clinically depressed suicidal guy who refuses psychological help, steals a truck, wrecks it, has a drug-induced fever dream, and wakes up thinking he has magic powers. Where but religion would we be celebrating that story?
Burning Man.
Okay, yeah, no, well done. It's more yuppie now, though. Anyway, all right, so I feel like we can close off with an obvious question. When we get that crazy billionaire money and we do our remake of The Shack, who plays the Trinity?
Oh, Eddie Murphy. All three. Different lady costumes.
A little person, Patrick Stewart, and Alexis Texas.
Okay. All right. No, I like that one too. Both are better. And well, that's going to do it for our review of The Shack. That's not going to do it for the episode just yet because we still need to tease you for next week. So Eli, tell us, what's on deck?
The Becoming.
Where the fuck did you
This was
find
emailed
this?
to us by Matt. It's a Christian vampire zombie action movie. And honestly, I just skipped through it and read around a little bit. It looks pretty amazing. I'm pretty excited.
Yeah, I skimmed through it just a little bit. They spent less money making this movie than I spent watching The Shack.
I also skipped around, and every single time like 5 or 6 spots I skipped to, it was literally clipping. The audio was clipping every single time I skipped to a spot.
Oh, no. Fuck. All right. Well, with that to look forward to, we're going to bring episode 82 to a merciful close. Once again, huge thanks to all the Patreon donors that help make the show go. If you'd like to count yourself among their ranks, you can make a per episode donation at patreon.com/godawful and thereby earn early access to every episode. You can also help us a ton by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes and by sharing the show on all your various social media platforms. And if you enjoyed this show, be sure to check out our sibling shows, The Scathing Atheist and The Skeptocrat, available on iTunes, Stitcher, and wherever else podcasts live. If you have questions, comments, or cinematic suggestions, you can email godawfulmovies@gmail.com. Legal services for this podcast are provided by the law offices of P. Andrew Torres. Our theme song was written and performed by Ryan Slotnick of Evil Drafts on Mars. All other music was written and performed by our audio engineer, Morgan Clark, with help, of course, from Eli and Anna Bosnick on the podcast.study song. And if you'd like to help Eli for making you laugh out loud enough to embarrass yourself in public, remember that's podcast.study, and it takes 5 minutes, completely anonymous. Thanks again for giving us a chunk of your life this week. For Heath Enwright and Eli Bosnick, I'm Noah Lugeons, promising to work hard to earn another chunk next week. Until then, we'll leave you with the Breakfast Club close.
Sam Worthington died while trying to do improv with an entire bag of Skittles in his mouth.
Tim McGraw eventually did win an iHeart Music Award.
That polyamorous fuck cottage was very confused by the visit from that stranger.
I want that movie. Like, he just leaves and they're like, oh, fuck, we got out.
Oh, God. All right. Everybody, odds or evens.
Strap him back on.
The preceding podcast was a production of Puzzle and a Thunderstorm LLC, copyright 2017, all rights reserved.
Divorce is a serious thing. To the extent that you can save your marriage, you should. No one knows that better than the attorneys at Cordell & Cordell.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
As many of you know, we represent men in domestic relations cases. And most of our clients are captive to a process they didn't choose. If they could have, they would have saved their marriage, but their wives told them they want out. Suddenly at issue are the assets they've been a lifetime accumulating. What's more important, their role in their children's lives. If you're confronted with a marriage you can't save, we hope that you'll consider Cordell & Cordell.
The attorneys at Cordell & Cordell work to help men maximize their role in their children's lives. Contact the domestic litigation firm of Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's San Francisco area attorneys, a partner men can count on. 650-389-1111. Online at CordellCordell.com. That's CordellCordell.com. Offices in San Francisco, San Mateo, and San Jose. Se habla español. Legal services available in English and Spanish. Kimberly Llewellyn, licensed in California.